I'm doing something a little different today, so you might want to check this out.
3, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Todd Brown, That Racing Show. Thanks for dropping by for this pit stop segment. As you can tell, not in the normal setting today. That's because it's occupied at the moment. But to be honest with you, I debated a lot on whether I wanted to do anything on this subject or not. But after giving it a good bit of thought, decided, kind of felt like I wanted to and I needed to. Of course, I'm talking about Noah Gragson. So many people have covered this. So many people have had their views on this. But I wanted to break it down in a little different format, do something different, add something to it. And I'm going to do this in little pieces, so I hope it all makes sense at the end. But this show right here started in 2018, actually with one episode that I did in 2018, and that was after Noah Gragson won the Snowball Derby. And that was the only episode that came out, because the show basically stopped, come to a cease after that, up until the fall of last year, where I brought it back. But in that one episode, I linked it on Twitter, and the very first person who liked it was Noah Gragson. And I thought that was pretty damn cool. And the whole episode that I did was on him winning the Snowball Derby and going in for a kiss from the trophy girl. And it lit up Twitter like crazy because people were saying it was inappropriate. There was so much political stuff brought into it. And I had fun with that episode because the kiss was part of racing. And I went into showing how so many people in the past have kissed the trophy girls. So it wasn't something new to the sport, but it was just something that new people to the sport didn't like. And that's where it brings me to everything that's going on right now. I'm not going to talk about Noah with the like of the meme, because no matter what I would say, it's going to be right to some people, it's going to be wrong to others. But I listened to Kenny Wallace's Coffee with Kenny a little while ago, and I'm going to give you beer with Todd right now, because this is the way I feel about it. It's not my place to judge him, to comment on it, do anything about that. But I'm going to tell you the one thing that does upset me about everything is the journalism that went into making all this happen. Because the way it was presented was that it was a situation that was found and was brought out to see if it was a mistake or what was going on with it. But it didn't go to Noah. Nobody contacted Noah to say, hey, man, did you accidentally hit this? Did you accidentally give a like to it? Because I've done that many times myself. And the next morning go, I didn't like that. I didn't want that. But it happened. And thankfully, Noah, he acknowledged. He acknowledged everything. And he's paid the repercussions from it now. But again, to go back to the format of how this happened to start with, if you had something like this that you wanted to contact the driver about, contact the driver. You don't call his boss man. You don't contact his boss man. You don't contact the sanctioning body that he works in. You check with him. And for me, this whole scenario was more political than it was about racing. And I don't like that, because in that episode that I did back in 2018, that was the whole thing I did about it was politics don't belong in racing. And if you want to do something like this, then go write for the other papers. Go write for other things like that. Don't bring this into the sport and start this whole new uprising of black and white, all this stuff that's going on right now, because there's no need for it. Racing is about racing. Report on racing, not the controversy that you want to create to get people to like you, and in this case, a lot of people to dislike you. Now, there's so many people that have different views on this, as I say, and like I say, I'm not going to get deep into it. But I want to talk about some other things that went on to this, because there was a lot of talk about John Hunter Nemechek coming into the 42 car next year, and obviously Noah wanted out of his contract after all this happened. Wonder if he was wanting out of it prior to that, because personally I never saw Noah as being fitting with the 42 team. Just didn't seem to be a pairing that really gelled before it even happened. So right now I want to get into some of the other subjects, mainly about Toyota coming in to the Legacy Motor Club, and let's go with it. Now on to Legacy Motor Club. Now, it was announced recently In 2024, Legacy Motor Club is going to move from Chevrolets to Toyotas. Right after that, it was announced that Cal Wells is coming in to take over the CEO position for Legacy Motor Club. Now, Cal Wells is very familiar with the NASCAR industry. He was the owner of PPI Motorsports, getting a couple wins with Ricky Craven, before the team folded up, and then he went to work for Michael Waltrip Racing, where he was VP, working his way up to CEO of operations in Toyotas. Now, at the end of that, he still stayed with Toyota Racing Development and went on to work with many other teams, including Furniture Row Racing. Now, interestingly enough, there's some other teams that switched manufacturers and went to Toyota with an alliance with Joe Gibbs Racing, namely Furniture Row Racing, who from 2016 to 2018 had this technical alliance, raced in Toyotas, won the championship in 2017 before 1 year later having to fold up. Been reported it was because of financial reasons. I'm not going to go into all that, but the driver of the number 78 Furniture Row Racing Toyota went to drive for Joe Gibbs Racing in the 19. Now, also, the number 95 of the Vine Family Racing had entries that they switched over to Toyotas between 2019 and 2020. Matthew Benedetto drove the car at first, and then Christopher Bell took over in 2020 before the team folded, and Christopher Bell went to Joe Gibbs Racing. Now, interestingly enough, the driver of the number 20 before Christopher Bell come to Joe Gibbs Racing was nobody but Eric Jones, who drives for Legacy Motor Club. So if I was Eric Jones right now, I'd be a little nervous about what all is going on with this situation, but Eric Jones did have a huge relationship from 2012 to 2020 with Toyota, so it could be a great pairing, but I would be a little leery about what they do and everything that's going on with this, because it either could turn out really great or it could be another driver out of a ride, because obviously John Hunter Nemechek is probably going to be in the 42 next year. So it's going to be an interesting story to see how all this plays out. Now, I'm going to get you to my final part. And finally, we're back to Noah Gragson. Now, I have no idea what's going to happen to him in the future. It's not my place to decide this for him. He held himself accountable for what happened, and for that, I give him respect. Now, was it right or wrong? Again, I'm not going to comment on that. But I'm going to say he is a young talent. Obviously, getting 8 wins last year, was a really good contender in the Xfinity Series for Junior Motorsports. Now, whether his career is going to go back to Xfinity, have to rebuild himself or not, I don't know. I don't want to see him fizzle out and just disappear, though, because he is a driving talent. And he's a pretty cool personality to bring into the series, because you never know what you're going to get. And I think the series needs that. Now, there's no doubt the sponsors, they got to come back. They took a hit on this as well. And I'm not going to get into all of that either. But I do hope that Noah is able to rebound from this and come back and be a winner just like he was in the past, because I hate to see a young man's future be ruined by a mistake and also by a journalist who had an agenda instead of covering racing. I want your opinion on everything that we talked about today, as always. I hope everybody enjoys the racing this weekend. And like I always say at the end of these shows, we'll see you at the checkered flag.